Plaintiff Jared Gregory married the defendant when she was 19 and he was 21. Jared claims the defendant cheated on him, and after they separated, she claimed she was pregnant with his baby. Jared has doubts about being the child's father, so he petitioned the court for a DNA test and is suing his wife for emotional distress. Defendant Jessica Gregory says while married, her friend moved in with her and Jared, and she heard rumors that Jared was having sex with her friend while Jessica was at work. Jessica admits she and Jared were separated when she found out she was pregnant, but she insists he is the child's father.
Start with you.
All right, me and my wife got married at a young age while I was in the Army. She was 19, I was 21. I was away a lot through deployments and tours and training and that sort of thing. And every time
When did you join the Army? At what age?
I was 19 when I joined.
Okay, so you had been in the service prior to marrying.
Yes, Your Honor. Well, I actually got out afterwards when she got pregnant because I was spending so much time away and it was causing a lot of problems in our marriage because of that. While I was in the Army, she admittedly cheated 9 times at least throughout the course
Your
of our
Honor,
marriage.
I never cheated on him.
Okay, that's a big difference, sir. You say 9 times, she says not even once.
She told me several times. Her friends would tell me about stuff. Like there was one guy she told me about.
He was someone that knew people that I knew.
There was another time, Your Honor, where her friends actually called me and told me that she was in she had to go to the hospital because our friend attacked her, and it was because she was sleeping with someone in a room with our friend's daughter, and
she was sleeping with someone.
She was having relations with a gentleman in the same bedroom as our friend's daughter because she didn't know she was in there.
Okay, all right. She says none of this ever happened. Go ahead. This was at what point in your marriage?
This is while I was still in the Army, Your Honor, in 2006, 2007.
How'd you get her to admit while you were in the Army that she had all these?
I mean, it would come up during arguments or like she'd be mad at me. She's like, well, this did happen and blah, 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 and that sort of thing. One time it was with one of my best friends. And he told me about it after we were married. He's like, dude, you shouldn't marry her. Like when I told him we were getting married, he was like, well, you shouldn't do that because this happened before and blah, blah, blah. And
let me get some background from her. Ma'am, you want to tell me about this?
First of all, when we first moved to Dover in Delaware, my friend was living with us, and she told me, and several other people told me that he was cheating on me with her while I was at work. He also admitted that she did come out of the shower and took off the towel in front of him, and he got excited about it, but didn't do anything.
But didn't do anything?
Yeah, they didn't do anything.
You're a strong man. Doyle, would you be able to restrain yourself? I'm just wondering. Go ahead.
Also,
if you ask me, I'll plead the fifth.
He's on drugs. I admit that I have done them with him, but it seems like every time.
What type of drugs is he on?
Prescription pills.
Any particular prescription?
Like fentanyl patches or Percocets.
Okay.
I admit that I have done them with him, but it seems like every time he's not around, I don't want that stuff in my life. I've been trying to help him by, helping him, give him gas money to take the kids to daycare or something. I have to walk 2 hours to work.
Where does he live?
He lives in Dover, and I live in Frederica.
With whom?
With his mom.
And you live with whom?
Myself and my kids.
And you walk 2 hours to work?
Yes, 2 hours every day.
Sir, before we get to the emotional distress and the petition for the paternity test, did you want to respond to the allegation that you're a drug addict?
Well, the drugs thing, I get prescribed prescription pain medication for injuries I sustained while I was in the military and during my deployment.
You mean when you shot yourself in the foot?
I got shot during a training incident.
All right. So you know that's what it's for?
No, he does not have a prescription.
I have several prescriptions.
Let's get to what you're suing her about, your wife.
Well,
you're still legally married.
Yes, Your Honor. In June of 2013, I found text messages in my separated wife's phone implicating that she was having relations with another man. We got into an argument about it, but I was actually late for class. I had to go to school, so I left, and when I returned home...
What did she say?
It was admitted that they were having a relationship in the text messages.
No, it wasn't.
What was it?
Huh?
What was it?
No, this guy was helped me with my car because my tire
All right,
had
he helped
blown
you
out.
with your car, but what were you all discussing on those texts? If you
had
want to
said-
defend
he had
yourself, that's
some-
up to you.
He had said some sexual things to me, but I had asked him not to send that kind of stuff to me, that I just wanted to
Did
be
you read
friends
that
with him.
part?
She did not say that. She was going on.
Go ahead, sir. Next time, read the whole sentence. She said he was saying it to her, and her response was, "Stop sending that. I'm a married woman."
That's not true, Your Honor.
All right. Tell me about the paternity test and the emotional distress. Why do you want a test, and how has she caused you outrageous stress?
Well, after that happened with the text messages, I left, and when I came home, all of her things were gone. And my youngest son was gone. The son that I know is mine, he was gone too. A month later, I didn't hear from her. I was at my house. A month later, she gets a PFA against me, and I have to forfeit my house and our vehicle at the time, and I was left homeless because of that. And she refused to let me see my son throughout 4 months, me or anybody in my family. And I finally see her about 3-4 months later, and I find out that she's pregnant. She claims that the child is mine, even though I know she was having a relationship with this gentleman during the time. Refused to let me see my son throughout 4 months, me or anybody in my family. And I finally see her about 3-4 months later, and I find out that she's pregnant. She claims that the child is mine, even though I know she was having a relationship with this gentleman during the time.
Defendant Jessica Gregory is being sued by her estranged husband, who has doubts about fathering Jessica's baby because she claimed she was pregnant while they were separated. So he petitioned the court for a paternity test.
All right, and ma'am, you want to first tell me about putting a restraining order against him. Did that happen?
Oh, yeah.
Why? What happened?
Well, before in Texas, he had been abusive. Also,
Physically?
like, yes. He does scare me sometimes, especially when he's coming off of.
And the judge granted the
They said
order?
that I could take my car that was in my name.
No. I'm talking about the order that caused him to leave the house and become homeless. The judge granted that, sir?
Yes, because
yes.
his family lives in Delaware.
All right. The judge granted that?
On a temporary basis, but while
All
I
right,
was
but
gone-
then you have a full hearing. What happened then?
Well, by the time that we had our hearing, she had changed the lease into her name, and she changed the
yeah, but the hearing was
title.
regarding the restraining order
Yes, Your Honor.
to determine whether it should continue and whether it was legitimate.
It
What was
dropped-
decided?
It was dropped, but because the lease was changed.
No, that's not why they drop them. They drop them to protect you from an illegal restraining order that she's placed. Let's move on, sir. Tell me about this petition. What are you actually suing her for? What has she done to you that is so outrageous that has caused you severe emotional distress?
Because of our constant cheating in our marriage,
All
the
right.
fact that she refused to let me see my
Okay.
son, and because
When did she refuse to let you see your son? Because cheating is not something that causes extreme stress.
also, Your Honor, because
No. Tell me about when and how did she prohibit you from seeing your child?
well, from June to September of 2013, she refused to let me see my son because of the.
In what way? Tell me how.
Well, she left, and I kept on trying to call her, asking her to let me see my son. She refused to let me.
Did you have a restraining order on
At
you?
the time, no.
Okay. And you kept calling her. Did you do anything other than call her?
I just asked to see my child.
All right. Why didn't you go to court and pursue it?
I did. It wasn't until we had a hearing that I was actually able to see my son. 4 months later.
Okay, and did the judge grant any type of sanctions against her? That's the judge you should have mentioned that to. When you mentioned that to that judge, what did that judge say?
We just got split custody, shared placement. with the
Okay,
child.
see, that judge was responsible for issuing sanctions against her or a judgment for emotional distress. Now, what else are you suing her for today?
Also because she repeatedly filed PFAs against me, and every time I got kicked out my house,
How many?
twice, Your Honor.
Ma'am?
I had him arrested just recently for hitting me with a speaker while I was holding
Did
a
you
5
press
month-old.
charges against him?
Yes, I did.
And what happened?
He's been going to court for it. They gave me a protective order.
All right, have you been going to court?
Yes, and the
Why
charges-
didn't they dismiss it early?
They have been dropped, Your Honor.
They have been dropping
haven't
it.
gone
Well,
to
they
your
keep
second-
dropping it and bringing it back?
Well, no, she keeps on filing. She keeps filing new
Sir,
charges.
what
against
is
me.
your paternity test lawsuit? All this is nothing but couples fighting with each other. Paternity test.
Well, number one, she had kept it from me that she was pregnant for 4 months, and when I finally found out about it, because I found the ultrasound photo in her house, she told me it was mine, but
Because
she was with
she
someone at the time.
wouldn't even tell you she was pregnant for
She kept
4
it-
months.
she kept it
Ma'am,
for
what do you
4
want to say about this?
Well, number one, I was 2 months pregnant when I found out that I was pregnant, and that was only a month after we had split up. I was not seeing anyone else.
Did you believe it was his?
Yes, I know for a
So
fact.
why didn't you
that
mention?
I know
Hold
for a
on.
fact.
So why didn't you mention it to him for 2 months?
Because I was
if you knew for
I'm
a
scared
fact.
of him. I was scared
Hold
of him
on.
at the time.
You were too scared to tell him you were pregnant. Is that what you're telling me?
Yeah, he's
Okay, I don't believe you now. Now I don't believe you because that is a very unreasonable explanation for not telling him. If he's continuously calling you, you had an obligation to say, look, stop calling me or whatever you want to say, but you need to know that I'm pregnant. You knew he was the father. He is your husband legally. So I believe you have an obligation, ma'am. Let's see the paternity test, Doyle. Someone's lying today, and I believe it's you, now that you've given me this unreasonable response about why you didn't tell him you were pregnant. When he called you repeatedly, that doesn't stop you. You're not too scared to tell him over the phone. So you better be glad, sir, that this child is yours, as it says here. Or, I'm sorry, you better be glad that the child is his, because if you had withheld information about being pregnant by someone else and caused him that type of distress, he may get a judgment. For the most part, judgments are granted to a husband or a spouse if there's physical abuse. And she is not suing you for physical abuse, and you're not suing her alleging she physically abused you. All you're alleging is that you and your wife couldn't get along and you had all these arguments. You had a bad marriage. Bad marriage doesn't get you emotional distress. Physical assaults do. So I have to deny your judgment and wish you well, and I'm sure you're going to take care of your responsibility as a father, right?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, good luck.
I still take care of him and care for him like I have been since he's been born, and that's not going to stop. Even if the child wasn't mine, I still would have taken care of him.
I just want to be done with him.